The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of TrueTech Training. Today we'll be covering the topic of data loggers and be going over the basics of data loggers, sort of a 101 course. We have with us today a guest presenter, and this is Matt Rivers. He's the channel manager from North America for Onset Computer Corporation, or the better known as their brand name of Hobo Data Loggers. Just a quick little review. If you're not familiar with TrueTech tools, we do carry more than 50 popular brands. These are some of our top sellers, including the Hobo there. We were named to being an Inc. 5000 fastest growing company in 2016. And we do have some pretty good ratings. Actually, that's out of date. We have 4.8 for over 9,500 ratings. Those are from actual customers by third parties. So we try to take care of customers. Somebody's telling me to share my screen, and I will do that now. Thank you very much for that. So I'll just go back one slide here. We've got Matt Rivers from Hobo talking about data loggers. Here are the different brands of TrueTech products. And these are some of our key product categories, including airflow measurements, duct leakage testers, blower doors, CO alarms. Really a lot of things inside the built environment, HVAC, building performance space facilities. We carry a lot of measurement tools and equipment for that. We do have free shipping in the USA for any order over $98, and that includes all 50 states. So next I'm going to transfer the controls over to Matt from Hobo, and he'll be leading us through the course on data logger basics. And making Matt the presenter. Are you all set there, Matt?
Here, can you hear me okay?
Now I can. Yeah, you were on mute, I guess.
Yeah, I was. So let's get into this. I just want to make sure everyone can see my screen.
Yeah, it's the PowerPoint program now.
Let's see here. Yep, that's what it should be.
You just need to go to slideshow.
Yep, we're good. So let's get this thing going. Bear with me a second. Okay, can you see that okay, everybody?
Yeah, I believe we can see it. It's showing the presenter view versus the slideshow presentation view.
Let's do this. Get out of that. I apologize for the technical difficulties. There we go. You can see that screen. And how about now?
Yeah, why don't we just go with that?
Excellent. So sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. And Bill, thanks for the introduction. My name is Matt Rivers, and I work for Onset Computer. I've been with this company now for over 8 years, and my specific role with the company is the channel manager for North America, and I work directly with TrueTech Tools to help them explain our products and sell our stuff. So you're in good hands with TrueTech Tools. So today's agenda is basically I'm going to go through what is a data logger. We're going to talk about the different types of data loggers that Onset/Hobo offers, how loggers are used, questions to selecting a data logger, and we'll go through some real-world applications and questions. If you have any questions, obviously, just type them right in the screen, and we'll answer them accordingly, most likely at the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Onset Computer Corporation was founded back in 1981. At this point, We have well over 140 employees that work here in Bourne, Massachusetts. And we also have a global network of distributors, so TrueTech being one of them. Our sole focus is data logging and monitoring. So we are that investigation tool that you keep in your bag when you're trying to understand what's going on at a job site, whether it's temperature, relative humidity, energy, or what have you. We're that investigation tool. So what we're going to do now is we have a poll question we'll start off with. And basically the poll question is, who's joining us today? And share the question. Thank you. And the poll should be open.
Okay, I think we got everyone voted now.
Excellent. So I'm just looking for the close button, unless you can close it on your end.
I'll close it on my end here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Here are the results. So mostly building performance individuals.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time to do that. Let's keep moving forward here. So let's just start off talking about what is a data logger. And I apologize if you have any familiarity with our products already, and if this is a little redundant, but it's very important to explain really what a data logger is and what it does. Basically, at the end of the day, what a data logger is a device that can record one or more variables over time and save that data to an onboard memory. We work with a multitude of sensors that can be connected to a data logger itself. So with our data loggers, it's a battery-operated portable device as well. So you need a software platform to work through with it, and I'm going to touch on that as we go forward. And basically, you're going to be able to collect data when you're not there. So that's where I come up with that word, the investigation tool. So there are different types of data loggers. We make state data loggers, and we make data loggers that are interval-based. So the big difference between a state data logger and an interval-based data logger is a state data logger could be used, let's say, to record when a motor is turning on or off, or when lights are turning on or off, or when a space is occupied and unoccupied. And what that means is that logger is only recording when a state change occurs. So something has to happen to trigger a recording point, or data point. And when that happens within our data logger, what happens is the data is collected and it's time and date stamped. So for instance, we'll use motor as an example. You have a motor and you want to understand when it's turning on or off. So the motor turns on, the data logger itself sees that motor is on, it creates a time and date stamp of when it turned on, and then it keeps looking every half second for something to happen. So the motor shuts off and the data logger sees that and says, okay, well, the motor's off, so let's create another time and date stamp. So from those two data points, you can tell how long that motor was running for. Now, with an interval-based data logger, the big difference there is it's a user selectable interval. So you can record a sensor or an internal sensor as fast as a 1-second interval all the way to an 18-hour interval. And what that means is on that interval that you select, it's going to record that time and date stamp along with the data reading. So for instance, with temperature, we'll use that as an example. On that interval, it's going to tell you what the temperature is in that space, and it's going to record it and date stamp it. And it'll do that on every interval until either the memory fills up or it starts wrapping over its oldest data first. And that's a selection that you can make when setting up the data logger. So again, the big difference, state data loggers only record when a change occurs, and interval data loggers record on the interval time that you choose, and it creates a time and date stamp in the data. So basically what I just explained right here is just an image to show you what we're talking about. So over the interval time is where you're going to record that data if it's on a long stream of data. We'll get through some different application stories in the end here to explain where interval works well and for what purposes. So the second poll question, if Bill, you can put this out there, I'd appreciate it. Do you currently use Dataloggers?
Okay, we got 40% of the people voted.
Excellent.
Wait a little bit
Well, that's
longer.
good.
60%. Just click that button there. 80%. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up with 80%.
Excellent.
Okay, so there's a mix between every few months, 25%, weekly for 25%, and not yet for 50%. So we got some
Great.
users out there.
Great, well, welcome. Hopefully this will give you a little bit of understanding of what a data logger actually can do. Okay, we'll keep moving forward here. So, real common uses, within the space for data loggers. We do make data loggers that are indoor and outdoor. Specifically, we're concentrating more on the indoor building performance market with this presentation. But as a quick snapshot of what it is we're capable of doing, as you can see, we can record field conditions for temperature, relative humidity. Inside of a building, we can understand occupancy and light, when lights are on or off, and when a room is unoccupied or occupied. For indoor air quality conditions, we can record temperature, relative humidity, and CO2. For comfort complaints conditions, we can understand temp and relative humidity. Also for balancing a system to understand how much heat or how much air conditioning is coming out of a vent. We also have a way to do remote data logging. So let's say you have a building where you want to set up a logger and do a study for a while on power. We have a way to do that and have that data all push out to our cloud service called Hobo. And on the outdoor world, we have outdoor temperature and light, temperature, for water applications, for coral reef studies, we'll say on the temperature and light, and then also specifically water level readings that we can do for, say, field and stream studies or well studies. So there's a wide variety of different types of things we can do with a data logger. For the indoor measurements, as you can see here, there really isn't much that we can't do. Environmentally, temperature, relative humidity, CO2, VOCs, air, velocity. Then we get into the energy and power. As you can see, we can go plug load, we can do power factor, 0 to 24 volt DC signals, pulse signals. The big key here is, again, the 0 to 24 volt DC and also the 4 to 20 milliamps. So we basically can accept third-party sensors with our data loggers as long as they have these analog output parameters, especially on the pulse side as well. We can do electronic and mechanical pulse outputs. So if you have an existing sensor you needed to connect to a data logger, most likely if it fits within that realm, we will be able to do that. And as we touched on earlier, time of use. So light on off, motor on off, state changes, and occupancy and light. So these are all indoor data loggers. So basically what that means is these data loggers are designed to be in a non-condensing environment. And as you can see at the bottom, they can't get wet. They're not made for outdoors, it's an indoor product. So any of the indoor products that we're going to be talking about today really fit into this realm. So I wanted to make that clear to the audience, because sometimes people think, hey, well, I could put this outside. Well, not a good idea sometimes. However, if you come across an application that has to be outdoors, talk to Bill, talk to his team over True Tech Tools. We'll find something that'll fit your application. So why use data loggers? Typical users of data loggers in energy monitoring are energy consultants, auditors, anyone who's doing any kind of performance contract. Applications, could be measurement and verification, light and in equipment efficiency studies, demand response. Really the common needs of a data logger as an independent evaluator is the first and foremost thing that a data logger can do. And it's for quick, fast, easy deployments. Totally battery operated. You don't have to worry about powering the data logger up. We have models that are Bluetooth where you could just set it and forget it for a while using your phone app. We're going to talk about those. And the other fact is it's a very low cost device to get you some really highly accurate data. So some of the questions, when you're choosing a data logger that we might ask you if you were to call in, and I'm sure Bill's team would ask you this, is basically, what do you need to measure? Where and for how long? So this helps us drive to the right product. Is there a one-time situation, or is this part of an ongoing project? We want to make sure we get you the data logger that has the most memory to fit your needs. And also, how often will you need to access the data, or how you would like to access it? We discussed that these are standalone models on the indoor side, but we also offer a Bluetooth data logger, which means you don't have to be connected to it to get to your data and push it out to the cloud. And then we have the remote models where basically you're setting it up and it's pushing that data out to the cloud. So you don't even need to be at the location to collect the data. So, some real important considerations when we're doing any kind of data logging is really the accuracy of the sensor itself. How you want to get to that data, as we just discussed. What's the most important way for you to get to that data and understand it? What the capabilities of our software are. So we have a platform, which I'll talk about a little bit and touch on here further in the presentation, called HOBOware. Some of the people who are familiar with data loggers and hopefully with Onset Hobo data loggers probably know about HOBOware already. Another question that's very important is battery life. These are considerations that you have to have. Typical battery life, and I will touch on this, is anywhere between 8 and 12 months. More on the 12-month side. And again, what really drives that battery life is depending on how much you use it. So again, the typical battery life is 12 plus months. But if you're using something every day, it could shorten the life. The beauty of that is they are all user replaceable batteries on the indoor products. The other consideration is cost of ownership. Again, this being a tool that you would keep in your bag or in your truck or use for your energy audits, it's very cost effective. Products from us on the list side start anywhere from $75 all the way up to a system that could be $3,000 to $4,000. So we have a wide range of pricing, and it really comes down to the products that you're using. The best thing about Onset, and I think Bill and his group will attest to this, is the product support. Bill and his team will always be the first line of defense for any product questions or anything else you need. However, Onset is here to help and work with Bill's customers or any questions that you have, or TruTech's customers, I should say. We're here to support you. That's the final question on that one. So we're here to do that and help you get to the right products. So accuracy is very important when you're looking at a data logger. They do vary widely depending on what you're doing. Sometimes you don't need to get the most accurate data logger, or I should say data acquisition tool, to get to your data. So sometimes you can avoid paying extra for that high accuracy. And you've got to consider the accuracy over an entire range. That's very important. So it comes down to the resolution of the sensor, the reaction to the sensor, and what it is you're actually trying to do with the data logger. And again, higher resolution does not necessarily mean better measurements. Over time, depending on what the application is, the longer you collect the data, the better the accuracy or the better the measurement will be too. Most of the data loggers that we have do have a pretty good resolution, anywhere between, I think it's an 18-bit to 24-bit resolution of the data, if that makes sense to anyone on the phone, but it's a little tidbit of information I'd share on the technical side with you guys. So let's talk about data access options. USB loggers, or as I call them, standalone data loggers, are usually used in the short-term trend logging, and they work through a manual setup and offload. So the simple part about these loggers is there's three things you need when you're going to set up a data logger. A, you need the data logger. B, you need a cable to communicate between the data logger. And C, you need to have HOBOware software on your desktop, laptop, wherever. Those are the three things you need to set up the logger and to access the data and download a logger to process and analyze what's going on. Very simple. We offer two versions of HOBOware software. We offer a Pro version, which the list price on that is $99. And then we offer the HOBOware basic version, which is a free version. So you do have access to the data. Or I should say the software. And it's a one-time fee. We don't charge a recurring fee for our software. We sell it by the user license if you're buying the Pro license, or basically you can download the free as many times as you need to. But again, there's never a charge for any kind of updates or upgrades that we do to our software. It's a one-time fee. So the next one we'll talk about and we'll go through is the Bluetooth data loggers that we have. So what's the difference between USB and Bluetooth? Well, no more cable to connect up to the data logger, and no more software needed locally, unless you plan to work with that data within HOBOware. So when we think about Bluetooth, think about a Bluetooth low energy device that can communicate to your smartphone via an app that we've created called HOBOlink. And as long as you're within 100 feet of that data logger, you can set it up, you can offload the data and see what's going on with that data right to your device. And that could be to an iPhone, an iPad, an iPod, an Android device or tablet. After that data is set up and after you collect it, there's also an option where you can have the data live out in HOBOlink. And basically what I mean by that is you can set up a HOBOlink account free of charge, no extra charge at all, and that would be your depository for data. So basically that data gets offloaded back to the HOBOlink app, and as long as you have a HOBOlink account set up on our cloud server, that data will automatically push up to your HOBOlink account, providing that device has a Wi-Fi or a cellular connection to get it out there. Now, the data is there, and let's say you're in the field and you're working on something. You can have somebody back in the office grabbing that data that you just collected and crunching it and getting to the meaning of the data for that customer. It speeds up the labor process as well. It gets customers answers quicker. That's the great thing about the Bluetooth device. Besides Bluetooth, we also have a wireless sensor network, and basically it's a short-range centralized data collection system for indoor applications. It does allow remote access, and what I mean by that is specifically you can log into that computer to get to that data. You can have that data visual to anyone on that IP addressable line that the computer is plugged into. Basically, it's our ZW system. And what this is this is specifically a wireless mesh system that works on a Zigbee type signal. And each one of these data nodes can act as a router as well. So that's where you're getting that mesh mechanism to the data itself. So think of it this way. You have a data node that is talking to data node A, is talking to data node B. All of a sudden, obstruction comes in, as you can see in the picture here. Well, data node B can't talk to the regular logger or pushes data through that regular logger like it always does. So the device itself is smart enough to look for the next best path back to the receiver. That's where that meshing mechanism comes in. So those are our ZW products. Again, to me, this is kind of more like a semi-permanent, longer application. They work really well. So if you have an application where you want to do that, the key is it has a dedicated PC with it. So you have to have a computer with a receiver connected and Hobo Node Manager running 24/7 to collect that data. Now, besides wireless sensors on the ZW side, besides Bluetooth, and besides our traditional USB loggers, we also make a web-based data logging system. And this gives you that long range of data without you being there. So basically it has internet access, and it would connect up using a Wi-Fi connection or an Ethernet connection or a cellular connection. So it's an either or situation, and sensors would connect it directly to this data logger. And as the data is being collected, it would push it out to our cloud server called HOBOlink. From there, you can see all of this data in graphical format and see what's going on with it right from HOBOlink. You can also have that data pushed to you from the HOBOlink site by using the user preferences. So now you can say, okay, I want data automatically sent to me once a week. You can have that data sent to you so you don't have to run out to HOBOlink to get it. It's a really cool feature. And this is an indoor or outdoor product, and it works with a variety of analog sensors, power sensors, you name it, it can pretty much be connected to it. So you've heard me mention HOBOware software and what is it all about and trying to understand that. So basically, it's a pretty powerful system, and it's really based, in my opinion, on Excel. So it's a powerful Excel system. However, you're getting some great data to work with, and it's fairly intuitive. And the learning curve to set this up is really simple. So this is where you're going to configure out any kind of parameters that you want to log. You're going to launch the logger from here, and you're going to offload data, back to HOBOware to, dig in and see what's going on with it. There's also a way to do a batch configuration. So let's say you're doing 100 data loggers at a site and you're trying to record those. You don't have to sit there and program each one. You can set up one batch configuration of a data logger, and then basically it's a plug and play between each data logger to set them up. So they'll all carry that program through that you set up for the first logger. Again, the export feature is great. This stuff all can be easily exported right out into Excel in a CSV format, or even into a text format, depending on how you want to work with your data. So HOBOware software, again, we're hardware guys, but we do have a pretty powerful software program as well. Hobo mobile app is very similar to HOBOware. Again, you might not get a lot of the same graphing and analysis tools that you do get in HOBOware, but once you set up and offload the data back to your smart device, you can actually save the data file in what we call a .hobo file. Therefore, you can email it to yourself and then pull it into HOBOware and work with the graphing and analysis tools built into HOBOware if you want. Hobo Mobile, and again, try saying that 10 times fast, is a great segue from the USB to the Bluetooth. And you're going to see more and more products from Onset come out that will be Bluetooth enabled. It's going to make it so much easier in the field and to get to your data. So we talked earlier about battery life, and you know, we say here at least 6 to 12 months. Really, you know, depending on usage, I look at more like 8 or 9 to 12 months. I know it's only a few months, but that does make a difference. So depending on how often you're deploying the logger will really determine the actual length of the battery. But normally you will see 12 months or 12 plus months. Real standard batteries, AA batteries, AAA batteries, coin cell batteries, these are all user replaceable. And then actually you can go into pretty much any store and buy them. Stop and Shop or any of the grocery stores that are in your area will have them, or even the battery stores. So we try to make it very user friendly so you don't have to send it back to us or to Bill to put batteries in it. So, you know, certain questions that you might want to ask yourself too, and this helps you kind of determine the whole total cost of the ownership of the product. You know, will this logger need to be calibrated by the manufacturer at any point? Our data loggers, no, we offer a NIST calibration service, and basically we do that with temperature and relative humidity. And, you know, TrueTech has access to that as well. But these devices all come out on the temperature side, because that's usually where people want to calibrate, with a digital thermistor on the temperature side and an RH sensor that if it does drift, it won't drift any more than, say, plus minus 1% per year. The beauty of it is that sensor of the internal data loggers is built in to it, and it can be replaced as well for a fee. So, you know, calibration, these things hold their calibration really well. You know, do you need to invest in pricey software? Not with us. As you know, basically, the software can either be free or $99. It's your choice. You'll be able to use regular batteries with our data loggers. I can't say that for other manufacturers. You know, are cables included with the logger? There doesn't need to be any cables included with any of the loggers that have internal sensors. The only cable you would need is that USB cable if you're using a standalone USB data logger to set up and offload. And data plans. Well, with the web-based system, depending on how you're connecting up to the data logger itself, or pushing the data out, I should say, you could get a free data plan. If you're using a Wi-Fi or Ethernet connection with our RX3000 remote data loggers, or if you're doing cellular, you'd have to purchase a plan. And those plans start at $150 per year. And that data plan is provided through Onset, through Hobo, and it gets renewed once a year by the end user. So we try to keep it very simple. We do offer a range of services for our products. You know, we have an inside application team here if you had questions. Bill's team is very well versed on our products, so they should be able to support you great. Let's put it this way, if they don't know the answer, they call us and we help them get the answer. And we work very, very closely with TrueTech as a team. So they are an extension of Onset. We do provide the long-term solutions. Again, this is an investigation tool for you to use. And we also have some really great resources on our website. I know TrueTech has pulled some of these resources over to make it easier for access for you to find things. We offer things such as white papers, case studies. We also have a knowledge base and a self-paced online training that you can use. And the user forum is excellent. That could be with other Hobo users to ask questions and understand, hey, what data logger do you use to do this? That's a great way for yourself to go in and connect out to the Hobo community. So why don't we go through a few application-specific stories here about our data loggers and what was needed to be done with a data logger and the reason why. So the first one we're going to look at is, tracking temperature and relative humidity to predict, mold risk within a facility. So the challenge here is they had a water damage to a fifth floor resident in an apartment building, and it was a huge rainstorm out in San Francisco. So they were providing, they needed to provide basically data on the daily remediation of what was going on for progress checks and to make sure that the mold risk was very low. So what they ended up using for this application specifically was one of our MX1101 Bluetooth low energy temperature relative humidity data loggers. Now the great part about this is if they had to, they could have this in the room or they could actually put it between the walls because again, being Bluetooth, this itself would record data through the sheetrock. So this is a great way for them to continuously check, see what's going on, and see it at at a moment's notice right on the phone itself. The results basically, again, it's a low-cost device. As you can see here in the picture, for that apartment complex, it gives access to these people who are doing that water remediation or preventative mold remediation, access to an apartment without actually having to go into the apartment. They're literally standing on the outside of the door and communicating with the data logger. So from this, there was a serious mold issue that was averted because they were able to track the drying process that they were doing. Another one is tracking energy. So, the goal here was to manage electrical energy usage at a printing facility and really trying to understand, when the low peak demand is, when the high peak demand is, but they wanted to have remote access to the data. So what they wanted to use this data for was to really set up and drive when is the best time for them to do most of their printing. So with that, they used one of our RX3000 data loggers. I believe this one was a cellular, and they were actually logging the whole power consumption of the plant itself. So they were collecting data on 2-minute intervals around the clock, and they were receiving alarms when limits were exceeded. So they were actually able to go in and set, hey, listen, if I see 800 amps or so many kilowatts over, I want to know about it so I can start changing processes, because during this time, it's costing me a lot more money because of peak demand costs. So they were able to do that with an RX3000. So the results, basically, they were able to lower their energy bill and actually come up with a better plan when it came to printing and manufacturing what they were doing. The payback on all the equipment was about a 2-year payback. I think they actually ended up doing it in about 16 months. So those are a couple of quick application stories. The thing I want you to walk away from this presentation is that this is a great investigation tool, and it is exactly that. It's a tool. It's recording data when you're not there. So keep that in your mind. Keep that in your thoughts too when you're thinking about tools that you use. This isn't some fancy computerized device. This is, again, a low-cost, high-power, or I should say low-cost, low-power, high-performance device. Other resources from Onset, we have great resources, self-paced training online that's available to anybody, and basically is a detailed training on courses, Onset's hardware, software, products, and we always add to this. We have an existing list out there right now, but this is always growing. Here's a link, and I'll leave this up here for a few minutes as we go through, and I'm sure we can share this with whoever would like it, so just let us know. Our knowledge base is great. It's a searchable database on all of our products for any kind of documentation, and also forum posts. We talked about the user forum earlier, and that forum is a great way to find out how somebody is using a product and what the application is. And then we talk about the user forum again. This is a great experience for anyone who really wants to understand different perspective from other data logger owners. And it's a great way to provoke ideas on what Onset should be coming out with. And here's the link for that as well. So at this point, if you have questions, feel free to type them in. I'll do the best I can to answer them for you. And I'll leave this open for a little bit, and we'll see what comes in.
Okay, sounds good, Matt. Thank you very much. Looking here, and I don't see any questions coming in yet. So I'm just going to move ahead, and we'll wait a couple more minutes, but I'll close with a couple other slides.
Excellent.
Okay. Take control back here. All right. So as Matt mentioned, we are a unauthorized distributor dealer of Hobo Dataloggers. And this is a screenshot from our website. So if you just type in the word Hobo, or you go into the brands category under Hobo, you'll see all the array of products that we carry, including the ones of categories that Matt mentioned: temperature, humidity, runtime, energy, lighting, then all the accessories that allow you to hook it up to various devices and get the configuration that you want to get out of it, including the software. And we also have other technical resources on our website, some training videos, some software and downloads, and other topics too of the other products that we cover. We do have like a combustion analysis download, a guide that was written exclusively by TrueTech. And then this is the way to get in touch with us if you have any questions about Dataloggers or any other products. 888-224-3437, and option 1 will get you to the customer support team. And you can always write to us at info@truetechtools.com, and of course that's our website there. Okay, want to thank everyone for attending. I don't see any other questions coming in yet. And just want to thank everyone who's come into this session. And Matt, do you have any closing words?
Well, I appreciate your time today. If there's anything we can do to help out, again, feel free to contact Onset directly or contact TrueTech Tools. We work together as a team. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, everyone. And a recording of this will also be posted on TrueTech's YouTube channel. And that's youtube.com/TrueTech Tools Ltd. Jammed all together as one word. And we'll see the recording up there within a couple of days or so. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great day.